everyone. This is the cast. Thank you for joining us. My name is Brian. This is
Josh.
And this is
Brian.
Damn it. Retake that one. We'll re-edit that right after. Anyways, we're here to talk about games, and LAN because we love it.
What's LAN? Games. LAN.
Games, more games, and LAN and anime games.
And anime games.
We, as the #1 podcast in the world for anime and LAN.
We talk about Tales of Bro.0.
Tales of Bro.0.
We should call our cast For LAN.
For LAN, and we only are posted on 4chan, so if you're looking for us, please go through all the 4chan postings, specifically the NSFW postings, because that's where we'll be. Anyways, this week we want to talk about games and what we've been playing. So I'll start with you, Josh. What have you been playing this week, man?
I've been playing more Final Fantasy 15.
Sounds like shit.
Yeah, it does. It is.
Shit game if I ever heard one.
And I just keep playing it. I just love to go back and be punished by things. Yeah, I've been playing Final Fantasy 15 and Assassin's Creed Brotherhood on the Ezio collection. Both games are a little difficult. Not difficult, but I'm getting tired of it. But I just keep going back and playing them because I don't have anything better to play.
Why would you play these games? And where are you in Final Fantasy 15 first?
We like Final Fantasy 15. That was discussed last week.
I do like Final Fantasy 15.
But Assassin's Creed is like an abusive relationship.
I'm trying to mix it up because I don't want to get tired of Final Fantasy, so I've been taking breaks after each chapter to play a little bit of Assassin's Creed.
Didn't you finish 15 though?
I finished 15, but I'm going because I like being able to go back and play it again. It's like Borderlands. You can play it as many times as you want with your same level.
Aren't you streaming it too or something like that? This time or no?
Yeah, I'm not this time. I'm not streaming it, but I am recording my gameplay and I'm putting it up on YouTube. So
okay, we'll all look for that.
If you want to watch somebody who all negative 50 views are Brian.
I've been giving him thumbs down since he posted it last week. They only allow me to do 1 thumbs down per day, so
he keeps on creating new YouTube users, so I
can thumbs down it. Anything else or just those two?
Just those two, but For Honor and Halo Wars 2 are coming out. So
did you get to play the beta?
I played the beta For Honor.
How was it?
It was
good. For Honor.
For Honor. I played the beta For Honor.
And it's the number 4 Honor, right? So it's For Honor
on the PlayStation 4. So.
Yeah. Well, no, it's only on Xbox One, which is a really weird thing. So you kind of have the 4s, too many 4s.
They ruined it with that.
But how is it, man?
It's fun. It's weird. I'm really bad at fighting games, but it's so visually appealing that I just keep going back and playing it.
It's a fighting game? I thought it was like a Dynasty Warriors.
They have a campaign mode, and you can play kind of like Dynasty Warriors, or you can play. They have like 1 versus 1 or 1 versus. It's like they have a. What's that on ODST where they have all the people come at you like a horde mode.
Okay.
And you can play that. You just get waves and waves of warriors coming at you. But you don't have to play it. It's going to be one of those games where I'm probably just going to play the campaign and then I'll get rid of it.
Oh, that sounds like a real waste of time. No, it looks cool. I saw some videos of it. Looks like there's a lot of like counter stances and
yeah, it's a lot of combos. A lot of, like you have to you can't just do like that Street Fighter thing where you get down, you kick. You have to like know how to block.
But they have a Blanca in it, right? Who shoots electric charges at everyone?
Of course. And you can block those Hadoukens with your sword, so.
Pretty cool. How many ninjas are in it? It's ninjas, pirates, and samurai, right?
And winches.
Yeah. It's like a total weird mix. Is that all you've been playing?
That's it.
What about you, man?
Just Dragon Age Inquisition.
Brand new game just came out, fall of 2016.
Which I'm kind of in now. I think last week, or the last time we did this, I started kind of barely because I just finished 15. I'm holding off on doing any post-game 15 stuff because I know that they're adding to it.
Spoilers.
So I'll go back and do extra dungeons and all that kind of stuff later. So I've been playing Dragon Age. I enjoy it. I think that the one thing I am really frustrated by is the perceived platforming, because they give you the ability to jump, but then it's like it's not a platformer. So I'm in this section I was talking to Brian about, Forbidden Oasis, and there's levels, and you can't, there's like the stacking of rocks that imply that you could jump to things that you can see, but you cannot do this. You have to like go around and up and then come down. So it's really annoying.
Why don't you wall jump, man?
I never play that. You can't jump. I know in like
you
Elder
can
Scrolls you can jump over things.
You can jump over things, like, but there's the amount that you can actually platform is super limited. So like there's like shards you collect. I don't know if you played Inquisition, but
I played the first one. I never played the second one.
So this is the third one.
It's really good, and it's a lot more. I feel like a lot easier to get into than the first one is.
I played the first one twice and was obsessed with it. I'm so into Dragon Age that I loved the second one, which is a hotly contested topic. So the only reason it took me so long to play the third one is that the Xbox 360 version looked awful, and so did the PlayStation 3 version. And they didn't even make it so that all the DLC would work for it. And I was really pissed at the Dragon Age Keep because I had very well thought out playthroughs and I wish I could just transfer it instead of having... Anyway, but now that I have a next gen, or this gen, there's like... You can jump up to a lot of things, but then there's certain things that there's not like... It looks like you can, and it's just like an invisible wall. Like, it's not like I'm at the edge of the map trying to jump over something.
You just, like,
I'm literally in the middle of the map, like trying to hop up onto something so that I can walk farther towards the center, and you just can't do it. And it's like, it's really annoying.
What do you think about the combat though, or other things? Because most of
the combat, as far as I know, the combat seems the same to me as Dragon Age 2.
Have you messed with the strategy portion of it, how you can like overhead?
No, I feel like that's going to be mostly useless for me. I played that.
Yeah, I mean it's cool.
I played that way in Dragon Age Origins because the game was made, I think, that way first.
Yeah, this one was definitely.
But I remember when I first played Dragon Age 2, and I was like, okay, I guess I just kind of do this action now. It's kind of similar to Final Fantasy 15. It doesn't have all the acrobatics, but you basically hold your attack button and then trigger abilities. So it also all reminds me of Last Story from the Wii, because that also has the same, like, it looks and feels like an action game, but you don't actually like do combos like an action game.
Can you also trigger strategy mode in that one? I feel like you could.
In Last Story you can. Yeah.
Okay. Is that the way to play that one though, or is it kind of like these where you mainly play the action, but if you run into problems, you slow it down?
I remember in Last Story, I'm trying to remember what I did. I remember that there's like a way to do it where you held a button or where you push a button. You can change. They have an option for it, and I had it where it's pushing because holding felt weird.
You just push it over and over.
Last Story is different because the combat I think is simpler so that they can expand on all the concepts a lot more. Like with a game like Dragon Age, it's like you have to customize your AI if you want to, or you can choose to do everyone's moves. There's so much that it's like, I think that they have to make games like that, either they have to give you tons of tutorials, or they just have to make the game playable to the point where you don't have to do any of that stuff, which is probably how I will end up playing it, coasting through. Like I won't play it, I play it on normal. I'm not going to play it on difficult, like super difficult. I won't play it on easy, but I'm more interested in the lore and the political story and that kind of stuff. So
it's a really good story, if I remember correctly. It's been a little bit of time.
Yeah. For some reason, especially with the modern graphics and like the larger character models and stuff, like I can't stand micromanaging very much in those kind of games.
Yeah.
That have, like, in a game like Fallout 2, or a game like Baldur's Gate, or a game like Pillars of Eternity, even like there's something about the way those games are set up where it's like digging into the menus and getting like your stuff together and like figuring out like everything that you want to do for your companions and all that kind of stuff. It just feels better. But in a game like Dragon Age, where it looks like an open world action game, even though it's not, it's kind of just like I just like want to coast through all the menu stuff.
Well, Dragon Age Origins and it's funny you mentioned all those games. Final Fantasy 12 both had like a gambit system that was really cool and really fun to put into it. Whereas I don't think Inquisition actually has a gambit system. I think you have some abilities you can let people do, but it's not like once health drops below 10%, cast heal or do this. it doesn't give you that same
So
kind of
how do you heal your guys?
you can switch. I think between
Right now, you have pooled potions. I don't remember. I haven't gotten to like a real heal spell yet in the game.
I don't know
Because I remember in Dragon Age Origins, I always had Wynn, the
healer,
super awesome chick, the older lady, always in my party.
What she was known as.
And I would program her to heal. But this one, I don't know if anyone has. Does anyone have healing spells?
I don't think so. I think it's more like.
But your characters, like your NPCs will, or not NPCs. The other people on your team will take potions and heal themselves, but they seem to do it inconsistently. I assume that there's a menu that I can go customize, but I haven't actually looked.
I don't think there is though. That's what I don't think it's like Dragon.
That's like my favorite thing about Final Fantasy is that your guys automatically, like if someone on the team is down, they will heal them for you. So I mean, even if you're not paying attention, you can just kind of.
You know what's funny though? In 15, I found that
I had to do all of that.
Yeah,
I had to like
rarely
always.
There's very few times where I felt like someone
was doing.
But I also just use Ignis's healing move a lot too.
Oh, his special or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it has its flaws, but I enjoyed it, and it was a small concession of having to just click heal this guy. It was fine in the end. Most of the time, they were strong enough.
You know, it's one thing that we didn't talk about last week that I would, spoiler alert for 15, but the 10-year jump.
Yeah.
The one
That was
complaint,
really cool.
I thought it was awesome, but the one complaint I have is that they should have made everyone look a little bit more different. Like, they just
they all got goatees,
Right.
so
I was expecting Ignis to maybe have like almost be more like a wizard because he's blind, and maybe have like a beard and like longer hair.
Yeah.
And then I would expect like just different. It's like they like Prompto had the exact same hair.
And
he just had the goatee.
Yeah.
Gladio had the hair back.
Yeah.
Which looked cool.
Yeah.
But
Gladio always looked cool. I wish we could do a 10-year time jump right now and we all come back with goatees like everyone does in 10 years.
Like
we look the exact same.
Like Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. Where they like go forward in time and they come back. But because Noctis looked really cool.
Yeah, he did.
He looked legitimately aged.
My one complaint is that I wish we could have explored more of the world after it had been taken over by demons.
Yeah, that would be cool
darkness.
too. I would have actually rather had the Eastern Continent, but we could turn this whole entire thing into a 15 podcast, so let's...
I think, the thing they should have done is they should have made every open world section of the game smaller
and allowed you to
with less quests and less stuff to do, so they could have made all the end sections of the game slightly bigger.
Because you hit a certain point and the whole game just becomes linear. You don't really.
And it was still awesome. I loved the linear sections, actually.
There's nothing wrong with that, but I wouldn't want the second half of the game to be as massive as the first half. I would want the first half to be smaller.
Yeah, it didn't need to be that big.
I mean, they did the polar opposite of Final Fantasy 13, which, you know.
Well, we got some more to talk about 15 soon.
But Dragon Age, so that's what I've been mostly playing. I really enjoy it. There's something about those games that really, I don't know, I like Dragon Age 2, so that's pretty much where my opinion on Dragon Age is going to go. So
this guy likes Dragon Age 2, which is nobody's allowed to like. Worst game of the year, 2000 every year in 2000.
No, for Dragon Age 2 was great. There's so many things about it that were bad, and a lot of those things were probably changed up to BioWare and also EA being stupid and saying you have to finish this game if you want to spend more time on Mass Effect or Mass Effect 2 or whatever.
It was 3. That was right when Mass Effect 2 had come out, and then Dragon Age came out like the following year.
Yeah. If you ignore the repeated environments, the cool thing about Dragon Age 2 is that every RPG from Tales to Tales.
Is it Tales at the beginning?
No, it's always
Tales podcast.
It's always saving the world and the universe from some like massive existential demonic evil threat in some way. And this one was all political, and it was like you are saving one town, or not even saving, you are deciding the fate of one town, and that's the scope of the game. So it's cool that they stuck to that. Because a lot of games hint at ideas like that, and then they don't do anything with it.
And you know what the world doesn't have enough of today? Politics. So I try to think about things we need more of. No, but that is cool. Like there's enough saving the world stories to throw a book at, and then you throw that book and just blow into all these other books.
Yeah.
But about the stuff I've been playing to keep
Hey,
this ball.
Brian, what have you been playing?
Thank you for asking.
Yes.
I've been trying to keep it recent. Watch Dogs 2, my bros, okay? I'm a hacktivist right now.
Oh, gotcha.
This actually isn't super recent, but it came out at the end of last year. It's a lot of fun. It's a really silly game. You just kind of like drive RC cars and quadcopters around San Francisco and talk to your dude bros. And my favorite part about the game is you're a hacktivist. You're supposed to be a good guy. But most of your weapons in the game just kill random people. So like you're running around the city with like AK-47s while you're trying to take down Bloom, man, because he's the bad guy, and you're a hacktivist, man. You're a good guy. So
compared to the first one, is it a lot less? I remember the first one was really it was fun, but it was really frustrating.
This one's a lot less dour. Like that one's just like, oh, I'm Adrian Pierce. I hate my life and whatever. You know, he lost his son or his niece or something. I can't remember what it is,
because
but
people like usually bounce right back after losing their family.
Yeah, well, it wasn't like his family. I think it was like his niece or something like that. And he'd never married. He's like an uncle whose like nephew or niece dies, and then he goes after Bloom because of a train or something like.
Are you saying Balloon?
Balloon, yeah. Bloom. Bloom is the name of the bad guys.
Okay,
Balloon
I
Corporation.
thought you said Balloon Man.
Balloon Man. He's
like, wow, I didn't play any of the Watch Dogs. Yeah, I will not.
You should, because
when I heard Balloon Man,
right.
They are the ones
in there.
No,
is it like Balloon Hitler from Aqua Teen?
It is a balloon version of Hitler. Watch Dogs 2 is a ton of fun though, and the game can be played in co-op, like the whole thing, which is really great. They did that in Far Cry 4. It is an Ubisoft game. There are a million little icons on the map, and you can run around and collect everything. But having fun. I'm walking around San Francisco taking selfies in front of Golden Gate Bridge and all that stuff, because that's what you do in the game. You get followers.
Prompto take my selfies for me.
This is true.
Prompto's good, but if you read the recent patch notes, you can now take your own selfies.
I did read that.
But yeah,
So in Watch Dogs, you can just be like a vicarious tourist.
Yeah, that's kind of my favorite part of the game. I mean, you can also do Uber, which you can't do in real life, everybody knows. So you can be an Uber driver in Watch Dogs 2. And you do all the stuff you can't do in real life. You have a drone, you can be an Uber driver, you can take selfies, you can walk around a city. These are things you can't do, okay?
The possibilities.
We live 4 hours from San Francisco. Do you think I'm ever going to go there? I don't even know where it is. But no, it's a lot of fun. I've been enjoying it. But before we talk about news, we should talk about... There's actually been a lot of games that came out this last week. I don't know if any of us have had the chance to play them, but I've watched a bunch of them online. There was Resident Evil 7 that came out in like VR and on Xbox One and PS4. Did you guys get a chance to look into that?
Nope.
I've kind of given up on Resident Evil.
I've heard it's great though.
I love the fifth one, and then I don't
Fifth
see it.
Where it goes bad.
I
though.
need to see a place where it's going to end. I need to see it all going somewhere, but it just...
Well, it's not going to. It's like you play Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah,
that's not like an
each
end.
of those are their own stories. They start and they end.
Same
But like
with
Resident
Resident
Evil
Evil.
is just like the world is always going to be full of zombies. Like I just saw Resident Evil the
That's how the
final
world is.
chapter last night, and I was like, yes, I'm going to go into this movie. They're going to give me some closure, and then it just ends with more zombies. Like it's not.
How could you expect anything from a Resident Evil
Because
movie?
it's called the final chapter. They should have just called it Just Kidding, and then that
Final
would've-
chapter, just kidding. Or semicolon.
Anyways, go on.
Yeah, so that came out. I didn't get a chance to play this one either, but Yakuza 0, that series always looked cool. I don't have the time or the willpower to spend 60 hours running around Neo Tokyo or whatever it is.
Yakuza.
The Yakuza. There was a PS4 only game called Gravity Rush 2, which I think some of us played on Vita, the original Gravity
Is
Rush.
Yakuza on PlayStation 4 only?
Yeah, it is as well, yeah.
I'm a hard pass on PlayStation 4 this
What
generation.
is this, the Sony podcast? What
This is a Sony... Hey, they did... It's not my fault that like all the games are released only on that. And then the last game that a lot of us have played the previous entries, Kingdom Hearts 2.8 Final Chapter Rebirth Prologue Second Coming.
Did we already talk about this?
We did talk about games coming out, but they actually did come out.
Okay.
Did you guys
Let's
get a
just
chance
clear
to go?
things up for the viewers because I too am confused on this. If you wanted to go back and play all of the Kingdom Hearts before the next one comes out, are they all available on PlayStation 4?
Only.
But I mean, all these things with like weird titles, are they previous entries or are they just like remixes or what are we?
We can't turn this into a Kingdom Hearts only podcast if that's how long
I
it
think
takes.
is there anything they haven't ported to these new?
Everything is now on PlayStation 4.
Okay.
Well, not yet. In March, they will have Kingdom Hearts 1.5 remix plus 2.5 remix.
Is 1.5
and
and 2.5, are those just the regular entries? But like,
No. It's Kingdom Hearts 1 plus the Game Boy Advance card battling game plus the a video of. Do you remember which one that was? Like they had,
365.
yeah, 358 over 2 days. And then Kingdom Hearts 2.5 was Kingdom Hearts 2 Birth by Sleep, which is a really good PSP game, and the digitized original DS one that none of us played.
Recoded.
Recoded, yeah, recoded.
see, I wanted to go back and eventually play these games.
You're
but
never gonna be able
it
to do it.
sounds like I'm gonna need to set aside a year of my life.
You know what you should do? You
Watch
should.
all the YouTube videos.
You should play not the.
Just play the big ones and Birth by Sleep.
I think you should play Chain of Memories. Chain of Memories is awesome.
So yeah, it's fun, but
But
I think 1 and
I
2.
never played the remake. I actually owned the PlayStation 2 remake of Chain of Memories, and I never got around to playing it. But when Chain of Memories came out on Game Boy Advance, I freaking loved it because I was really into Kingdom Hearts 1, and it was like a perfect bridge the gap where it had a. They say it's a card battling system, but it's not. It's an action RPG.
it's
like
a lot easier.
Would
than
you
normal card
would you
battling
consider it like important canon for the story?
Yeah, it's important canon for Kingdom Hearts 2 because it explains what happens to. I mean,
we're going to use explains loosely on this podcast.
Yeah, that's true. 'Cause this is before they convoluted the lore to Kingdom Hearts. So this is
Well,
when
2 starts that because it was originally just Heartless.
yeah,
and then
but,
is when it
but Kingdom
starts
Hearts
going-
Chain of Memories is before 2.
Yeah, but
so
once
I'm trying to explain to him that this is not. This is a Chain of Memories is a continuation of the story that Kingdom Hearts is about,
Yeah, well.
not an addition to the lore that is the worst part of Kingdom Hearts. Because Kingdom Hearts, at least 1 and 2,
really great game.
have great stories but terrible lore. And that's the problem is that because of the trend in storytelling that started, in my opinion, with the overrated Christopher Nolan Batman movies, that
false?
everyone is
Sorry, it's
everyone
lies.
is obsessed with like origin stories and like the details of everything, and the details like never tell a good story, which is why Mass Effect is cool because you don't know all the details about everything, and why the original Star Wars are cool because you see 100 different alien races that you're never going to know what they are.
It's open to interpretation.
Yeah, but so Chain of Memories literally just continues the story from 1 to 2. It gives you where Sora is and where Riku is, and it's short and it's fun. So I would play that. 300 the
58 over 2.
I
would never
enjoyed-
play it.
I enjoyed, but it kind of I don't know. I don't remember what my thoughts are in that game. I played it and beat it and didn't complain about it. The only side there's 2 Kingdom Hearts games I haven't played. There's one I haven't played, Recoded. The one that was like a weird retelling of Kingdom Hearts 1 that
Hearts
seemed
1.
pointless to me.
Yeah, on DS.
The only one that I couldn't actually get into is Dream Drop Distance, which is the most recent one.
Yeah,
because I hated
yes.
the dropping and I hate monster raising games.
Yeah, it's very much a Pokemon-esque, but it's not as much fun.
Even
as
that
Pokemon.
is not the big thing. To me, it's the dropping. The like you
Yeah,
only get a
switching
certain amount of time with each character, and then it switches automatically. It's like weird.
Really?
Yeah, it's a very bizarre thing. I'm sure that there's some convoluted lore reason,
Yeah. I think they
but-
try to explain at the beginning too, but
Yeah.
it's dumb. For me, a big problem I had with the Dream Drop Distance is because it was on the 3DS, all the worlds were really empty. They had like no people wandering around. So you were in like France, Quasimodo World, whatever it's called, from Hunchback of Notre Dame, and you're the only person in there besides the other characters from the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So like the original Kingdom Hearts and Kingdom Hearts 2, they would have NPCs that would walk around.
Oh, so
They were kind of-
there's no people.
There's no people, just like the real world. This is empty France. But yeah, it looks interesting. Kingdom Hearts 2.8, I've heard, is really good. They, like Eric said, they do the thing where they do not follow the show, don't tell rule. They just do the tell, don't show. And
But the Birth by Sleep is great. It's also the worst, but it's like one of the best.
It's fun to play.
It's like the best game, and the Aqua and Terra, I think, are like two of the coolest characters in the series. But I think it's the beginning of what is wrong with that series, where everything takes place at the same time. Where it's like when they had the preview for Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep at the end of Kingdom Hearts 2, that you had to beat certain conditions to unlock, and you're like, oh my gosh, the ancient Keyblade War, like what's all this about? And it's like, oh, this was just a couple years ago actually.
Well,
so it's
ancient,
like,
of course.
I thought we were getting like a glimpse back like 100 years or 1,000 years or something to a completely different story.
Yeah.
But basically the way Kingdom Hearts works is that every single character is some part of Sora. So the main character contains in him fragments of souls of everyone. And so basically every Kingdom Hearts game that doesn't feature Sora features characters that die or lose part of their souls, and it gets like in Birth by Sleep, it shows at the end this like thing where it like they all call their souls collect and go inside this kid. So it's like,
well, of course.
He's like a soul.
But I mean, Eric, you got to remember how good the story is. They talk about a lot about the light inside you. And
see,
the light
I don't
heart.
mind that stuff.
It's so cheesy.
It's cheesy, but that's not the problem. The problem is the lore behind it.
Yeah.
Like when it's a metaphor, like don't give in to the darkness. It's like, oh, because then the darkness will turn you out, and then you'll have this person come out of you, and this person come out of you.
You're gonna start pooping demons.
Yeah, it's really bad.
Well, I think with that, we've talked about the games that came out this week, talked about how much we love Kingdom Hearts, and we will be back very soon to talk about the news.
It's another stack played for us here, so join us on the Podcast Radio Network at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Pacific, or download it this week with bonus content on iTunes, Mixcloud, Google Play, Podcast.com, Stitcher, and the ESO, Tangent Bound, and Gonna Geek networks, as we delve into the pop culture cosmos.
Okay, right?
Okay, Eric.
I'm just looking at the stuff we're going to talk about.
Okay, well, I'll wait a second because I don't want to okay, there we go. Anyways. Damn you! Now we're back. And now that we're back, we're going to talk about some awesome news. Josh, want to kick it off?
Alright, so as you guys know, Death Stranding was a huge thing, vague, but a big announcement at last year's E3. And we saw in the trailer there was...
Mads Mikkelsen?
Not Mads Mikkelsen, the Norman Reedus was the guy walking naked along the beach and like dead fetus.
That's what I'd like to see.
And we don't really know anything about this. We know that Kojima is like really that this is his first game outside of Metal Gear Solid that is he's producing.
Konami unshackled him.
Yeah. So in the last trailer we saw Guillermo del Toro and Mads Mikkelsen. So there's a lot of like it looks cool, but there's a lot of mystery surrounding what the plot is. And so people thought that since Kojima was working with Guillermo on the Silent Hill game, that he was going to be involved in this, but he just said that he is involved only as a character. He said that Kojima wanted him to be a part of it as a character, but he has not contributed to it creatively in any way.
Okay.
So there was a lot of...
Sounds like he's a liar.
There's a lot of speculation. Well, I mean, Guillermo del Toro is like, his movies are amazing. He
Especially Hellboy 2.
Hellboy.
Put the picture of Hellboy 2 right over here.
Yes, Ron Perlman chewing on a cigar will be
Put a picture
right there.
of the handicapped goblin from Hellboy 2 right here, the best character in the film.
And so there's going to be another trailer out soon that's going to feature more from Mads Mikkelsen. So basically, let the speculation begin, but hopefully we'll be seeing more of that at this year's E3.
We'll find out. Eric, what's going on with this Nintendo and the Mini NES Classic?
I don't know, because you're the one that said you wanted to talk about it.
I did not say that. Oh, we're going to need to edit this out.
I guess it sold 1.5 million of the NES Classics. I've definitely seen guys in their 30s on Facebook talk about them.
In their underwear.
Let me ask you guys this though. Do you think that, because they have sold 1.5 million units, and during the holiday season, they were priced at about $250 a piece.
That's crazy.
After MSRP,
would pay for that?
well, they MSRP at $60, and people
Yeah.
were still buying them for $250. So, do you think that retro games are making a comeback?
Well, I think retro gaming has been a trend for
10 or
ever.
15 years.
Like the same group of people that bought one. Like I see, like I'm friends with guys on Facebook and follow guys on Instagram that they do things like this, but just on retro gaming. So it's huge. The funny thing is that Nintendo is so stupid about it because they have the keys to winning retro gaming for all time.
Yeah.
And they just don't do anything with it. So.
Well, they keep letting us buy our own games.
Because even this is dumb. Like when I saw the NES Classic, I'm like, okay, this is dumb. Because one, it doesn't have every NES game,
No, just
and
60.
two, why didn't they just put all this on the Wii U or the Wii or the 3DS?
That's true.
Eric, they did slowly, through a trickle, give you almost 1/10 of their games and let you rebuy them several times. So let's not say Nintendo's not doing their part, okay?
Trickle down retro gaming.
Well, there was also something cool that happened this week, which I don't know if you guys have played Elder Scrolls Online. I know you tried the demo of it, Eric. Did you get try?
I never played it. I'm afraid that playing that game is going to make me lose hours and hours of my life.
I would only disagree because, like, while it is a fun MMO, it is an MMO, so it has the same trappings and the same, like, draw where it's like, for me, personally, there's no end of the game. I mean, they do have a story that does end, but it's not compelling enough. However, they're adding this expansion where you go to Morrowind and you get, like, a new class, like a geomancer with a pet bear. That looks pretty cool.
I saw the trailer.
It's not going to change my mind because my mind will only be changed if they did get rid of leveled zones, which is cool. But the biggest problem I have with the game is I've always felt Elder Scrolls has always been like a be who you want to be. Hey, you want to be an archer? You shoot arrows. You become stronger by doing that. You want to be a mage? You use magic. You do what you want to do. Elder Scrolls Online is a class-based MMO where you gain levels through the basic normal ways of gaining levels. You attack and kill people and you get experience through that. And that just, to me, I mean, WoW does that, Final Fantasy does that, there are lots of other games that do that. I don't know if you guys have any opinions on...
I'll probably hop on since I've got friends that play it,
Yeah.
and once the Morrowind comes out, that'll probably be my excuse. I would prefer if Final Fantasy XIV would come out on Xbox One.
That'd be cool.
because I
He's
will.
right. I want to play.
I played it on PlayStation 3 for a while. I'm never gonna buy a 4. It's just not, just to upset all the internet.
Our fan
And
base.
also,
Our one fan who's watching this right now, who only has a PS4.
and also, I'm never gonna have a PC for it because if I get a new computer, it's gonna be recording oriented, not gaming oriented. So.
Edit that out. Don't let people know we don't only game.
I really enjoyed Final Fantasy XIV for what I played. I think I got to level 40 or something like that as a paladin. I had some friends that played with it at work, and they did a really great job, I think, with that game. But basically taking out everything that I don't like about MMOs and streamlining a lot of the good stuff. I played 11 also, so it's a pretty significant upgrade.
I played 11. There's a lot about that. Like the one thing I didn't like about 11 was that you couldn't play through the game. You could only play through maybe the first like 12 hours of the game by yourself.
Yeah, it's very party oriented, which is
Cool.
interesting because 11 has such like not an aggressive in a bad way, but like an aggressively loyal community.
It's still
and, like,
around.
people like make friends on it, whereas like WoW seems to have more of the like Xbox Live and Sony Network version of like, you know, trolling, and they've got all the same problems of like when I played 11, I never met anyone that was like a dick. I just only met cool people. Same with 14. I'm sure because 14 is more accessible that there's a lot of annoying people on it, but
And it has, I think, a bigger community than 11.
but yeah. But I mean, MMOs are a weird thing for me because when you think about them, they're basically dress-up simulators. Like, you are making a character that you are role-playing as in a giant world with real people. So if you don't like the reason I don't care for World of Warcraft, I admit that World of Warcraft is probably the best designed game, or at least used to be, of the MMO market, but I don't like Blizzard art direction. I don't like the music in Blizzard games. I don't like the story or lore in Blizzard games. So the only thing I like about Blizzard games is how well designed they are. which is a good thing.
Yeah.
But I
And
like
they play well,
I like
which
the
is
worlds
right.
of Final Fantasy, the music of Final Fantasy, the art aesthetics of Final Fantasy, which is why I went after playing 11, even though it was a significantly harder game to play than WoW. But Elder Scrolls, like I love Elder Scrolls. I love that universe. So Elder Scrolls Online was pretty great. I'll probably hop in for Morrowind and try it out.
Is Morrowind, do you think you're just going back to Morrowind, or do you think there's some kind of like significant story there?
I mean, it's an expansion. There'll definitely be a story there. You're not going to, I think you're going to Barfendel. You're not going to like Morrowind proper, I think.
Oh, okay.
I think they're gonna. I mean, with how big the zones are in the game right now, and the fact that they're pricing it at a $40 expansion if you own the original base, I think it'll be pretty significant.
Yeah.
It's a clever move because if you think about it, people have been asking for a Morrowind remaster for a really, really long time.
Yeah, but
It's not the same.
It's not the same,
so.
but I mean, just to give people that nostalgia of going back to.
For me, like I said, they're just taking away and sorry about cutting you off, but for me, the biggest thing is they're taking away what I liked about Elder Scrolls, which is I want to be this guy. Like, my favorite thing in Skyrim was I did destruction magic and healing magic and swords, and then my guy got like levels up from all of those things. And it was a really cool feeling that I got stronger and stronger and stronger by doing stuff, whereas this game is a traditional MMO. They're right there. They've almost done everything else. There's no more like, you go anywhere in the game, it auto levels with you can play with any of your friends, they've done all this really cool stuff, but they're holding on to this class system that just, in my opinion, doesn't work. Because their classes aren't interesting too. They only have 4 of them or 5 now.
I actually don't like, I prefer leveled zones because it gives you things to like look forward to.
I guess, but I do like the idea now. Originally Elder Scrolls Online worked where you had 3 different groups, and you can only go between, if you're this group, you had this zone, and then once you maxed out that zone, then you could travel between different ones. Mm-hmm. They've gotten rid of all of that, so now you can go anywhere you want in the game, kind of more traditional Elder Scrolls.
Yeah, but in Elder Scrolls, Skyrim maybe not so much, but traditionally, like
Oblivion also was just whatever it was called.
It was weird because like the Elder Scroll games, they've always kind of leveled with you, I guess. So I mean,
not always.
No, because you can go to. I remember I would be on like level 40, and I'd walk into a house, and there'd be just some random dude in there that'd be level 40 with me, and he'd just attack me. Like,
it's different. Yeah, Eric's right. It wasn't always leveled with you, but a lot of the time there would be like some enemies that would actually have a set level. But most of the time, one of my actually biggest beefs with Oblivion was the fact that when you go through the Oblivion gates, all the monsters would level with you, so you never feel like you were powerful enough to defeat them. And pretty much what I had to do in that game was run to the end of every Oblivion gate, shut it, and then continue to do that.
That's because that system was messed up, because I think in Oblivion there's a cap on stats, but not necessarily like a hard cap on levels.
Okay.
So you could max out your strength really early on, but then you would still level up via other ways, and so the enemies would level up. They just like level up, but you have already maxed out your strength. So as you get levels up, you're not getting stronger, you're maybe getting faster or more magic power. So the enemies kept getting stronger and stronger beyond you. So I think that was why that was broken. I think New Vegas had the best version of all that scaling.
Yeah, scaling is just an interesting thing in games to begin with. But we've actually got 2 big topics to discuss really, really quick, but we're going to need to take just a super short break.
If you're tired of sifting through flea markets for rare and unique games, we can help. Retro City Games in Henderson, Nevada, only 5 minutes from the Las Vegas Strip, has all your favorite gaming staples, classics, and a wide selection of rare games with new stuff always appearing on our shelves. Come in and chat with Nicole or Doug about your love of games and watch as they help you complete your collection or find your childhood favorite. And don't forget, Retro City Games loves trade-ins. So if you have any Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega, Xbox, PlayStation, or even PC games, come in and visit Retro City Games today. Welcome to the new metropolis of gaming, Retro City Games.
Now we're back. Just wanted to take a break to throw you guys off track. We didn't want you to watch too long, and we are hoping that you all quit watching this video, and we're just watching to one viewer on YouTube
who just broke his PlayStation.
A PlayStation 4, PlayStation 4 viewer who only plays Tales of Berseria. Our favorite game, which we forgot to talk about, also came out last week. Going for a platinum on that right now as we speak. But anyways, actually, our biggest topic, or two of the biggest topics we're going to talk about, is recently there's a game seller, a big chain store that has been supposedly lying to us, the consumers, and we're sick of it.
Is there a non-GameStop chain store that?
We can't say the name, guys. We can't say the name.
Yes, we can.
Legally, our legal team in the other room over there said that we're
Lawyers
going
are
to
going crazy.
don't worry, guys. Don't worry. Yeah. So, anyways, according to a Kotaku post,
Before we go on with this, maybe do you want to explain what, in case no one picked up their internet this week?
that's what I was about to tell
Okay,
you.
I'm just gonna make sure. I mean,
Anyways, according to a Kotaku post, GameStop has been telling their employees to lie to people when they come in asking for new copies. Part of this thing called the Circle of Life, where the Circle of Life is based into pre-orders, reward card subscriptions, used game sales, and game trade-ins. And this needs to be at least 30% of the money that they make needs to be in used game sales. So if they sell one new copy, or if they sell two new copies, they need to at least sell one used copy. So if somebody comes in there all buying a brand new PlayStation 4, then they need to sell, I think that's $400. They need to sell something along the lines of $150 worth of used games. So
I mean,
it's a crazy system.
yeah. I mean, it's like the same. It's basically just like the.
Okay, and now we're
So-
back.
Continuing on, Xenoblade, GameStop bought them, opened them, and then sold them used for a lot of money.
Yeah, $40 profit.
that what made them
Or $50
think
profit.
that? So they bought. Did any other retailers get any other copies of that game?
No, because it was a
GameStop
GameStop published
Oh,
thing.
that
So.
is just robbery.
And they did this. They did something similar with Skyward Sword too. That game, like, not that they published it, but that game came out at a point where people stopped buying Wii games. I noticed I walked into stores and they were selling that for like $60 or $70, like used. And they were doing the same thing with the Metroid Prime trilogy. They also had that one for $80 to $100 used, and like you could find that one for $20.
And
when it
these
was on
are
sale.
new games
Yeah.
basically that they just opened so they could
because
sell
they were pristine.
used.
Like unless they bought them from a collector and he just happened to have 8 copies that were all brand new but opened.
That like really bothers me.
It's a sadly.
Well, and today their COO or whatever,
Yeah.
some head up guy released some notes like covering the whole thing, but it's not true. You
Yeah.
know that that's what they encourage
He
you
said
to do.
that
They pressure you
yeah.
so much to buy used games, to pre-order games, that you know that that's what the news that they're lying to
Yeah.
people is true. So
It's a frustrating thing because it sounds to me like it's difficult to be a GameStop employee or manager. Lots of people have been fired for similar things, for like not selling enough used games. Or
I saw something where it was like a manager got fired because they cut the hours that he was available for.
Yeah, didn't have
so
any.
he paid employees out of pocket
Oh.
during the
Yeah.
holidays.
Because they only gave, I guess depending on how much your store sells, they'll give you a certain amount of hours, and you have to distribute those hours accordingly. So like there was a GameStop employee who said he got 5 hours a week because their store didn't sell that much. So that means the manager, who was the only person who was paid like a reasonable wage, had to do all of the hours. So the managers were coming in for about 6, 7, 12-hour days in a row, which is just, it's a bummer considering that they have made so much money in the past few years, and they're kind of getting their just rewards and not preparing for the digital age, which has been like foretold since the end of last generation.
yeah,
Everybody kind of knew that we weren't going to be always buying new and used games.
their business model is really flawed too, because if you think about it, Book Off.
Yeah.
I don't.
Book Off's very small in Japan and here.
Yeah, so Book Off, the reason that they sell all of their stuff is pre-ordered. They buy stuff from you, but it's all pre-owned, and you can buy like a new game that costs $60 at the store. They sell it for probably about $35, so you get $15 off. But GameStop, you go and 25, and you go to GameStop and you want to buy a game that came out. Say you want to buy a copy of Watch Dogs 2.
Yeah.
They're selling it for, instead of $60, they're selling it for $54. So you're not really
Yeah.
getting so where is the incentive? I could just go to Target and buy pay an extra $5 more, and I get to actually take the wrapping off the game and have a guarantee that it works.
Yeah, and they, specifically about Watch Dogs 2, is they've done that used thing. They've told people that the game wasn't there new when the game was on sale for $35 new there. So they told you it's not available new for $35, which is what they're selling it at that point, but you could buy a used for $55. So that's crazy. Why would somebody want to buy a used game for $20 cost? I mean, I guess, you could love having things that other people own. That's like everybody does,
Yeah.
Like, I buy used clothes, used underwear. I try to find as much used stuff as I
Used
can.
toilet paper,
If I can't get it used and recycled and GMO free, okay, I don't want it.
Yeah.
I want pre-used food. I want pre-drained drinks.
What'll probably happen is they'll just go out of business eventually.
Yeah.
This kind of crap's only gonna work on like the generation that has kids that are like 10 and 12 now. But everyone else growing up with GameStop, everyone in our age, like once we're buying video games for kids, like I'm not gonna go to GameStop.
Yeah.
If you think about it too, like GameStop, they're stubborn. Like we're a stubborn bunch of people. We look for bargains before we go out and buy stuff. The only people who are gonna go and fall for that crap is like the moms or grandmas going in and buying video games for their grandkids or children.
And that's why I think the only place GameStop's going to find business is in the previous console models. So like I'll talk to kids or like, family members or whatever, nieces and nephews, and they'll get games for like, PlayStation 3. So that's where they're making their used money off of. But that's such small money, that's like $5 for this game. They're trying to like expand with doing Game Trust, which is their publishing arm, which is a cool idea, but it's not guaranteed to work. Their first game, Song of the Sea, I believe it's called. Like while it looked cool, I didn't buy it. I don't know if either of you guys did. It was like a Metroidvania style game in a submarine.
Song of the Deep.
Song of the Deep. That's it. Song of the Deep. And it looked cool, but I wasn't that interested in it, and I think that's what a lot of people felt. So they're trying to do that. They're trying to get Funko Pop. They own a company called Think Geek that
Okay, I've seen that one.
like. But the thing is, we're going to see GameStop probably shutter half their stores in the next few years because there's just no way they can compete with, hey, I can buy a digital game at half price, never have to leave my house, or I can just look online and get those games for cheap.
Not to mention, too, like the Xbox Marketplace, you go on there, you can get some of those games for almost half off. Like, they have weekly sales. Like, why are you going to go and pay for, like, a used copy of something when you can just have it downloaded? You don't even have to go to the store. You just sit in your living room and download it for 50% off.
Or if you're an Amazon Prime member, you get all games off for 20%. Or if you're a Best Buy Gamer Club member, you get all new games off for 20%. Like, there are so many programs now that just allow you to get a discount on brand new products that don't even require you to pay $15 a year or whatever for the reward card. I think Gamer Club does, and so does Prime, but the amount of stuff you're getting, at least with Prime, is insane. And with Gamer Club, I mean, if you love games, like, all new games permanently, it's not even for the first 2 weeks, 20% off, as well as used games, 30% off or something silly like that, and higher trade-in and all this other stuff. So their reward card thing is like, hey, you get $5 more back if you're trading in games, but I know personally, I only own like 6 physical games this generation, or 6 or 7 physical games, and like I don't want to trade those in because those are games I actually went out and bought because I want to keep them. The rest of the games I own are digital because they have game sharing and a lot of other really cool tools, and I don't have to go and dig out of a box my old game to play it.
So let me ask you guys this though: do you think that the concept of game trading is what keeps people going back to these places? And then whereas when you go completely digital, you don't have anything to trade in.
Well, I mean, probably because Microsoft tried that and everyone hated them for it. So
I think we will see digital trading.
Yeah,
very
it's
soon.
inevitable.
Yeah, I think because Steam already allows you to return games within 2 to 4 hours of play or something like that.
How does that work though? Do you need to uninstall it, or how does it?
Once you ask for a refund, they take it out of your store because everything's based on the Steam store, which is an online only system.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's stored to your maybe it is stored to your hard drive, but it's through their app and you can only access it when you're online. But there's a lot of other stuff that allows you to do that. But in more positive news, though, about games that we're stoked on, there was a game that was recently announced this week called Pillars of Eternity 2. I know that you got a chance to play the first one, Eric.
Oh, yeah.
You want to run us through what's going on with them and Fig?
Yeah, Deadfire. They launched the Fig campaign for it. there was a weird rumor that they were actually going to be working on a new Fallout game.
Yeah, a lot of people wanted
I
that.
actually didn't even hear that for some reason.
Fallout
But
Louisiana.
while I would love for Obsidian to make a new Fallout game, because 4 is okay, but New Vegas was awesome.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for Pillars of Eternity 2, or Pillars of Eternity Deadfire. I put in over 100 hours for the first one. I kickstarted the first one, and I will be figging this new one.
Figging. Have you seen how much money they've made so far?
No, I haven't checked.
I think the last time I checked, which was a couple days ago, the day or two after it started, they were at, I think they wanted like $1.5 million, and they were at 1.8 million or something like that. They've already surpassed it.
When you do Fig, there's a lot more incentive to donate money.
You can invest if you're in a. I think
You have to. It's
you're
$1,000
accredited.
though to invest.
Yeah, but you can become an investor for the game. I'm not sure if you still need to be accredited. That was something that you had to do in the past, which meant like you had to have a certain amount of money in your bank and all this other stuff that I'm not qualified to talk about because I don't know anything about investments. But yeah, it's a cool service. I like Kickstarter more just because I know it better. But for the people who are involved, it sounds like Fig is better maybe for the developers and the publishers.
All I really want is to give them money so that I can get a box with a map and a printed manual and all the nerdy stuff. So
yeah,
I'm not that into physical anymore, but there's certain things that I still want.
Yeah, when people put a lot of work into good quality products, it's worth getting, you know?
Yeah.
I mean,
but I'm really excited.
Really rad.
It's cool. My understanding is that or not my understanding, you play the same watcher from the first game.
Okay.
So I don't know if there's like a transfer.
Yeah.
And there's like
PC, I'm sure they can.
Well, what I meant is I don't know if there's anything to that other than just having your same character.
Okay.
But I don't know if it's like Dragon Age where it's like, oh, like these choices and all that kind of stuff. I think they announced that.
I think that was in the video. I watched some of the video.
That's what I thought. I just I realized I don't have like a direct, like, oh yeah, I remember them saying that. But it'll be awesome. I think you get some of your companions back too, at least Ader, because he's the voice in the trailer.
Yeah, and they've redone the models, which looks great. Like if you see their side-by-side comparison of, I think the character's name is Ader, is that the one? Viking-looking guy with like a horn around his neck?
Yeah.
It looks significantly better than the first one, which came out, I want to say 2 years ago at this point.
Yeah.
So they put a lot of time in that engine, and it looks like a lot of
work. But it looks great. I didn't actually get a chance to play Tyranny, which is the other game they just recently made, but I will play it. It's on my list. If Torment wasn't coming out in a few weeks, I'd buy Tyranny now.
These are PC games.
These are PC RPGs, so they're like similar to Baldur's Gate, Icewind Dale, like those old school games that they're kind of bringing back and modernizing in some ways. I haven't got to put a lot of time into it. I know you've played quite a few of them, but it's kind of a cool process that they're doing, is making these games new and fresh. The people want them, and they've been doing really well on their Kickstarter campaigns and review-wise and everything. Josh, what's been going on with the Square Enix and Marvel partnership?
Yeah, they announced that they're going to be producing not just one game, but 5 games.
Okay.
For right now, and
sounds like all stuff.
I don't know, like they were very vague in the trailer for it. Did you guys watch the
I did not watch the trailer.
It's just like it shows like Thor's hammer, Captain America's shield, and Iron Man's glove is all jacked up. And just some lady talking in the background. But the idea of like a Marvel game that kind of looks like, you know, like a Deus Ex or Final Fantasy, it's kind of appealing to me. I want to know where they're going to go with it. But at the same time, Marvel they're so controlling over their properties that I'm afraid, like, they haven't made a good video game since Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
Marvel Heroes, from what I understand, is supposed to be pretty good. A PC-only Diablo-esque game.
See, I never played that one.
Yeah, Marvel Ultimate Alliance was probably the last great game. I mean, superhero games one superhero game has been good, the Batman Rocksteady series. Pass. No, they're awesome. We'll see what they do. Licensed games have such a bad history, and so many of them are bad that I'm going to wait till they come out and see what they
actually do. I think the rumor is that Eidos or whatever, they're doing a Guardians of the Galaxy game.
That could be cool. I mean,
they're the only two games out of this whole thing that I'm interested in, because I'm not a huge superhero person.
Yeah.
I would be interested in a Thor game and a Guardians of the Galaxy game. Everything else I don't care about. I don't like Captain America. I don't like Iron Man. I don't like Avengers proper. So
let me ask you guys this though: like, So Guardians of the Galaxy, and so you're not a comic book reader, so it wouldn't bother you. But to someone who does read comic books and watches all the movies and the cartoons,
It's actually it's not that I'm not a comic book reader. It's that I don't care for the superhero genre.
yeah. So,
So you actually
unless-
read the Thor series comics.
Yeah,
I read actually. I like a lot of
The
comics.
reason is because I prefer science fiction and fantasy, and for some reason, superheroes. I mean, they obviously are
Yeah, science
fiction and
fiction.
fantasy,
Yeah.
but they're like growing up. I preferred Lord of the Rings or Final Fantasy or these PC RPGs we're talking about.
Yeah.
I like worlds and stories like that, and
So Thor is kind of
so Thor is like kind of
Right,
fantasy-ish,
yeah.
and then Guardians of the Galaxy is like Star Wars-esque.
Yeah.
So those are right up my alley. But
They're all power fantasies. They're just different ways of. I feel like superheroes are like indestructible power fantasies, where the ones that we're playing actually people have flaws. Which not that these superheroes don't, but in my opinion, they're.
I just don't like them
generally
because
better.
there's either no space, there's no like outer space,
Yeah.
there's no fantastical creatures or environments, and there's usually no swords.
Eric, what are you talking
No
about?
swords. That's the
Captain America is a super job.
I like legendary swords. That's
true.
just it.
That is appealing. That is appealing.
Captain America is the best, man. He's like a football player. He can run really fast and hit guys with a shield. You've all seen him do that.
Either way, so
Back to what I was saying though, like people who like live in comic books, do you think that they're going like you get because Marvel is one of those people who take the same stories and just rehash them over and over and over, and I can say that because I've been reading comic books since I was a kid, but like. Do you think that people are going to be so fed up with like some of these stories? They're like, okay, I get enough through movies and comic books. Why am I going to pick up a video game about the Avengers?
well, because here's the thing though, with Square handling it, I imagine that this will not be like Final Fantasy Team Square, Kingdom Hearts Team Square.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be their
It's
Enix, or not Enix, Eidos. When they bought Crystal Dynamics.
Eidos and Crystal Dynamics. So in that case,
And they're great.
Like the last two Tomb Raider games have been phenomenal.
Yeah. And
So-
Deus Ex's both have been pretty great
I
too.
didn't get a chance to play those, but they look rad. I don't think I would enjoy a first-person Marvel game.
No, it needs to be third person.
It needs to be third person. But if I could play because to me the best Assassin's Creed game that ever was made was Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
Because I hate Assassin's Creed, but I love Tomb Raider, and it's the same concept of like slightly open world, like points of interest to explore.
A lot of climbing.
Yeah, lots of climbing, platforming, good combat, all that kind of stuff. So if I could explore the realms of Midgard and Store in a Tomb Raider type game,
That would be fun.
or a Guardians of the Galaxy type game, I would be totally on board.
Yeah, we're gonna have to wait to see what they do.
Yeah.
Because if they put the quality that they put into Rocksteady put into Batman,
Yeah.
then it could be a great game.
But if I'm just playing through
story
the movie of
movie,
Avengers,
Yeah, see, it's
Hard
just
pass.
it's too bad they're so vague about what the games are. Like
It's-
a big.
I don't think we'll see the first one till maybe the end of next year, the earliest. When we'll have to wait to see if they're timed with movies. Then we need to be concerned because if it's going to be like the new Avengers movie, which comes out I think next year.
I wouldn't want to play a movie tie-in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that's why we'd be concerned. If it comes out just whenever it comes out, then I think they'll have some more flexibility.
Yeah.
But anyways, we got a special event that just happened. Final Fantasy 30th anniversary event, and it was a doozy, guys. They talked about a lot of
Talk
stuff.
about nothing. I'm pretty sure.
That's not true.
I was expecting a lot more from it.
They showed a picture of Cloud with Sephiroth in the top right.
I feel
that
like
picture right up there.
I feel like if my 30th birthday was as uneventful as Final Fantasy's, that I would just drive off a cliff.
Eric, don't say that.
It'll just be the Josh and Brian podcast.
Yeah.
and hopefully survive.
Yeah.
But just because
It was very uneventful. I do think that picture was cool, but it wasn't like at all what you expected for a 30th anniversary. Like
It's a picture, like there's so much fan art on the internet that I'm sure there's like a million other pictures just like it. So they
that was
really-
taken from DeviantArt. That wasn't even their
Yeah,
artist.
they were just like giving us something that we already knew was going to happen. Cloud is gonna fight Sephiroth. What?
Yeah. Well, nobody's played Final Fantasy VII. It's a brand new game.
Yeah.
I think
Kingdom Hearts 3 picture was better.
I think I'm waiting for the third era of Final Fantasy when Tetsuya Nomura no longer works with that company because I think he's the worst.
He
but,
takes so long on anything he does.
But he doesn't.
Well, he
do
doesn't have
good.
enough belts.
Because he
That's the
like
problem.
I think like the same problem with Kingdom Hearts because that's his baby
Yeah.
and that's you can pretty much trace the beginning to Final Fantasy getting a little hard to follow with Kingdom Hearts being really popular because they're like, oh, we should just make all our games as crazy as Kingdom Hearts and let this guy do it. And he, like, I've heard him say that he just makes up stuff like on the spot. Like even like with all the reason the lore is so stupid in Kingdom Hearts is because my understanding is that he just makes that stuff up. There's
Doesn't have
not
a
like,
plan.
yeah, there's no plan. There's no like, this is what it's about at its core. It's like, oh, I'm just gonna do this and this and this and this and this, and you can just tell. It's like,
So he could come to work drunk one day and you just end up with all kinds of other things you can't explain.
yeah, well, it's the same thing. So I don't know. I'm optimistic for the Final Fantasy VII remake, but I
Because of
also
15 for me, that's the main reason that made me optimistic. I was
But-
concerned a little bit.
I'm so concerned because of the portrayal of Cloud and everything post Final Fantasy VII as like whiny emo boy or not sullen
Yeah.
emo boy.
He listens to
So-
Dashboard Confessional every day.
Yeah, I
Everybody
feel
knows
like he's like constantly, you know, like listening to Dashboard Confessional. But so I just want them to tease something that shows us that Cloud is the character he actually originally was.
that. Which is a cross-dressing
Which is
guy.
a cross-dressing smartass.
No, he was a funny character in that game.
Swears a lot, all that kind of stuff. I want to see that. If I know that they're gonna take that direction with Cloud, then they will pretty much be able to do no wrong otherwise for me because that's like the character that the game focuses on. So if they screw him up,
So do you think they'll make him more like the Advent Children Cloud when they in this remake?
That's what Eric
No.
does not want to
That's what
happen.
you're fearing. Yeah, no,
that'd be so annoying, and because it wouldn't make any sense. But like, I don't care if like I don't want the game to be turn-based Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
Because I can go play Final Fantasy VII. I don't have like the graphics complex that some people have. So, like, I don't mind that they're going to do episodic and maybe experiment with gameplay styles. Like, by all means, do all that.
Yeah.
Just don't ruin the characters.
And for me, it's just mainly like, does he have enough belts? Is he gonna have enough belts when he's out there, right? Like, that's the main thing I'm concerned about. I saw the Kingdom Hearts 3 image looking like he's Cloud. I didn't see enough belts on that character.
Not enough belts. The sword wasn't big enough.
Sword wasn't made of belts. Put the picture up there of the new Kingdom Hearts trailer. Have you seen that picture online?
I
though?
have, yeah.
Of all the belts in the corner.
That's
But they also announced Final Fantasy 12.
Yes, the Zodiac Age, is that what
Yeah.
it's called?
Yeah, it's coming out July 11th, which is cool. I'm still confused why they're kind of half-assing their Xbox One support. Like, I don't know why they don't want to just bring it to both platforms. To my knowledge, I know it's still difficult to develop for both, but it's become way easier than it was in the past.
I've heard
with
that it might
PlayStation
be. I've heard that it could be Sony.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be
they are
surprised if they
either
put some
paying a
money
bunch of
in.
money for it or whatever. Because it's all the allure. Because like I feel like Sony is really shallow. Because most of the games and experiences that are like Sony only don't appeal to me in any way.
This is a pro Sony podcast.
But the
Like it was the PlayStation.
but like the internet outlook is like Xbox was like, hey, we're gonna try and do digital and do all this stuff that makes it really easy for the consumer, and then everyone's like, no, and then all PlayStation had to do was be like, we're just games.
Yeah.
But now they're trying to do digital stuff,
Yeah.
and like everyone's like, oh, it's so innovative, it's so great, Sony, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
your mouth tastes so good.
Yeah.
So I feel like Sony could be like
crushing.
Spending some money.
pushing them a little bit to keep those things Sony exclusive.
Well, they finally have some money,
if
man.
they were to release like Final Fantasy X and X-2 on the Xbox One, I would play it.
Yeah, I would too.
I played it twice already, but I would go back and play it again. Like,
I think they could release all of them on Xbox One and they would find a market. There are a lot of people who still like RPGs, as we saw with Xbox 360. Lost Odyssey, all those games came out, and yeah, sure, they didn't do Halo 3 numbers, but nobody thought they were going to do those numbers.
Yeah.
Those games don't do those numbers on Sony consoles either. That's just those games, you know?
Yeah.
Like, the games that do well are the sports games and the shooters. These are RPGs. They're for a different crowd. But they could release them and still find, I think, a good audience and make a lot of money. They don't want to, probably because either, like you guys said, maybe they're in Sony's pocket, or they don't care because they're a Japanese company and Xbox has no footing in Japan. I don't know what it is. It's a little bit frustrating. However, a game that is on Xbox that Square Enix has recently made, Final Fantasy 15, did get some new announcements. Not actually on the 30th anniversary, but recently following that. Eric, you want to let us know what they did?
Yeah, they just announced that they're gonna add a free drive mode.
Which is what we are waiting
Which
for.
is interesting.
I actually do think that's a cool idea, though.
Yeah, it's cool. They announced the release date for episode Gladio.
Yeah. And Ignis, they mentioned.
No,
They never gave an exact date for Ignis.
Was Prompto the one that they mentioned was July? Who's one of them they said was like July.
Prompto was like July 12th or something. And
Okay.
Or
June,
the first
it looks
one,
like.
June, and the
Yeah,
what was it, Gladio,
March 28th.
Gladio.
And then they also announced, I forget.
Chapter 13, their like changes to it will come with the Gladio expansion. As well as all the patch things like we talked about, free drive and all those other really cool tidbits.
So a lot of that sounds really interesting. I think that there's some questions that I wish they would address.
Yeah.
Because they have New Game Plus mode, right?
Yeah, they do.
They have that now.
Oh, they also are beefing the level cap to
Yes.
120, which is cool because like I'm at 97 with my characters and I didn't even do that much grinding.
How did you get that high?
You just save up experience, then you go. The way they do the experience in that game is actually a lot of fun because of the banking system. And then once you're at the end of the game, you just take your banked experience to the triple multiplier at Altissia.
Wait, so that's what I'm doing wrong. Is I'm going around. I'm sleeping at night instead of going around actually fighting.
So
people.
no, what you do is you
night,
can
you just equip that
experience
band.
That's a free DLC that they added.
Yeah.
Okay. It was a really cool idea. I really liked the banking
It's amazing.
experience.
I think things I want to know with the Chapter 13 redo. Do I have to
play
the whole game, even if it's New Game Plus?
Yeah.
And here's the next thing. I actually wouldn't mind replaying the whole game, but I would love. This is probably way too complicated.
Yeah.
I would love if New Game Plus mode would carry over the side quests you did.
That is something I'd like too. I know they don't.
Because I honestly like never want to do them all again. I actually enjoyed all the side quests. The problem I had is that the world is so hard to get everywhere and like it takes so much time.
Yeah.
Like that's my one thing about Dragon Age that I'm really loving is that all the areas seem really big and yet it doesn't seem like it takes me very long to get to them.
It's because they segmented them all really well.
Yeah.
So it's like you're at Hinterlands and it's big, but you're at Hinterlands and then you can fast travel in Hinterlands or you're at wherever.
But just because of that, it's like I just don't want to deal with the like go get a quest and then go do this. That game Xenoblade that briefly came up, they did a great thing where when you did fetch quests of any kind, as soon as you completed them, you didn't have to take them back to the quest giver.
Just kind of 15 still needs to fix some stuff. They still need to let you do the hunts.
What I'm saying is that
all of them at once. Yeah.
See, I understand though because the world is so big.
They said they were loading them into the game. They need to figure out a way to do that.
But I think that if they could do that, that would be awesome. Because then I would just replay the game from the beginning with all the story patches, do the DLC and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
If I just could get by without doing side, and I know I could technically do the game without the side quests, but like the story, character interactions, all that kind of stuff.
I hope that they do not make the 13 changes like a separate menu thing where you go to do that because. To me, that would just feel weird and like a strange way, like I want to do it through the main game. I was mentioning this to Erik on the way over here. I want to do the DLC through the main game as well. I know Square Enix generally, I've played some of their DLC in Sleeping Dogs and a few of the other games where they won't put it in the game. They'll tie it to like a menu option at the front where it's like, choose this DLC. And I think it's always cooler when it's kind of like an organic thing. You go in the game and you go to that.
If they're making Chapter 13... If they're redoing Chapter 13, they need to put it in the main game because I don't want to like quit and then go out and play this Chapter 13, then have to go back and play the old one to go on with the game.
No, I think they're planning on search and replace on that Chapter 13.
Yeah, I think they're going to switch it up. But we're going to be ending very soon. But one cool bit of news for our PC brethren is that Final Fantasy 15 is going to be ported to the PC. It doesn't say when it's coming. It does say that it will be the more technically developed version.
It is in the works from what it sounds like.
Yeah, it's good. They have all the games on PC. If I was a PC gamer, I'd be excited to be a Final Fantasy fan. You can get every single game now. Well, not yet.
Almost.
But you can get almost all their games. And that's something cool that a lot of the Japanese RPG developers are doing. I don't know if you guys read, but Ni no Kuni 2, a game I'm really excited for, a PS4 only game as for right now, is also coming to PC. So it's like cool that companies are finally kind of expanding and broadening their horizons.
Do you think that's going to be good?
I hope so. It's not Studio Ghibli. I know. Yeah. I love the first one though, so I'm going to give it a shot. I love
Level 5.
Yeah, Level 5 is great.
Ghibli,
we'll see. We'll see a lot about that stuff. And with that, we look forward to talking to you guys really soon. And thanks for joining us. I'm Brian.
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 Damn it.